Hey everybody, it's Tim. We are on episode 17 of Live and Found. And so we're going through our process right now of reviewing the signals. Last week we talked about your digital footprint. This week we're going to talk a little bit about your domain expertise. Let's what does that mean? What does domain expertise mean? Well, it is bottom line is it's the how you convey your expertise, what you do best to AI and to your customers. So back when we first introduced the signal in June, it kind of, in my opinion, it kind of stood by itself. It was one of those, the other signals kind of fed into each other, but Signal 2 kind of was its own entity because what it did is it was all about, you know, getting your blogs out there, getting your FAQs out there, just hammering those onto your website and making sure you do your posts and things like that. But when we added the layers of bias and we added the layer of behavior, we really found out that Signal 2 is now so interconnected with the other signals. It's almost at the center of them all because because the bias, you're fighting it. And we'll talk a little more about that in a bit. And with the behavior, it's all about you connecting everything together to show that you're the expert. So let's talk a little bit about the core idea. What does AI look for? Well, when we first did Signal 2, AI was looking for the voice. It was essentially looking for, are you speaking the loudest? Are you making sure you're being, are you being heard? Kind of stuff like that. Are you being heard on your FAQs? Are you being heard on your blog? Are you being heard on your social posts? But now what it is about being the clearest proof. So it's gone from being the clearest voice to being the clearest proof. So what are we talking about with clearest proof? Well, like your schema. We talk a lot about schema, and I know we do, but are we tying your schema to a real author? Are we tying it to you? FAQs. Are they being mapped to real questions that are being asked? So like this is a great opportunity to use those videos we've been talking about so much. Use those videos to really capture what that question is, or use those chats or phone calls from your customers to really to really kind of hone down what your FAQ looks like. Your case studies. Make sure you have your case studies. And what I would do is I'd follow up those case studies and make sure your case studies are also tied to maybe like a customer recommendation, because those are the two things to me would go hand in hand, a case study and a customer recognition. Oh, thank you, work you did on my heater, for example. You want guides that teach, making sure that you are using your authoritative voice and making sure that you are talking about and really, really honing in on your expertise, what you do the best. And really, honestly, what you need to do at this point is really talk about the steps process. I know it's going to feel like everybody knows this, or this is too detailed for somebody to understand. It's really not for AI. What you're really trying to do is hone in on making sure that you are the expert and you're showing that you're the expert, and taking it through the detailed steps, step by step, is vital in that. We talked a little bit about reviews and citations. You want to do those. And, it's all about putting more into what is your proof, making sure that you get into that proof. And so that brings up what we're going to start calling the answer hub. What's the answer hub? Well, look at it as kind of like a library. It's a proof library. Think of your answer hub as your evidence index of each page, each post, each video, each FAQ, and that they all connect together to prove that you are the expert. So what you want to do is make sure you have all those proof points, all those items, those positive reviews, the expertise that you're giving and showing, they all lead back to each other and they're connected together. Because once you do that, you're building, it's your starting point, and you're building on it each week to make sure it gets stronger. And again, what you're building is that behavioral proof, that behavior layer. So let's talk a little more about the behavior layer, excuse me. It's that, and I like this calling it your proof in motion. The best, it's doesn't matter. There's the old saying about, if a tree falls in the forest, does anybody hear it? Well, what you want to do with your behavior level, it's kind of like that. You don't want it to be out there in silence. You want to have everything tied to engagement with people, engagement with AI. That's the whole point of the behavior layer. It's to make sure that, and we talked a lot about it in last week's episode, and we're going to talk a lot more about it with each subsequent signal. The behavior layer really did change your domain expertise from being that standalone we talked about earlier to now it is so connected to every other signal. And it's because of the behavior level. Every click, every save, every comment, everything that you do is so vital to AI, because AI is learning from us. It is seeing what people are responding to, and it says, okay, if they're responding to this person, she must be the expert in this. So I need to pay more and closer attention to them. So that's why it's important to keep that behavior level going and make sure you get those interactive items, your videos, your FAQs, your client reviews, and everything that's built around people, so AI makes you the authority. And of course, this is so vital. And we talked about it last week. And again, we're going to talk more about it in the subsequent weeks about the bias in the data. We realize that because of the gap, there's 20 years of AI being made with essentially an echo chamber of information from hearing the same stuff over and over and being reinforced by itself, that there is bias in the data. If you are a female-owned business or you're a minority-owned business, it's vital that you get your behavior level and all these signals shining so bright on you, so we can teach AI and give the AI new information so it can learn from it. So the echoes that it's hearing from the past become just that. They become more silent, and the current echoes become louder. And so it's important that you keep your bias layer in mind when you do things, and that you do the steps to make sure that you take care of it. Make sure that you publish, that you get human engagement, and that you tout yourself. Because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is, you're not trying to be the loudest voice anymore. What you're trying to be is, you're trying to be the most profound, the expert. You want to be verified by others. You want to make sure that your customers, that your expertise shines brightly. So let's talk about, how do you build it? So we talked about building the Authority Hub, which is tying all your FAQs and everything together. You need to publish weekly. Make sure you're doing your postings. Yes, we're talking about doing a weekly blog. I know it's tough to do a weekly blog. It's probably not the highest that is on your to-do list. But blogs are so important for two things. Number one, they show your expertise in detail. And that's what you want to do, is you want to make them detailed. People are probably not going to read your entire blog. what they're going to read is they're going to read snippets out of your blog. So, for an example, look at our blogs. Our blogs have snippets in them for that reason, to help people scan through it and find the exact thing they're looking for. But why blogs are more important is AI reads them. And when we say read, we're talking about scanning and crawling. And AI does scan through the whole blog. And they want to see, and when they say they, I mean AI, when AI wants to see your expertise, and it can't be disjointed and disconnected and every once in a while, because we've talked about this before. AI wants to make sure that you are the expert, you show that you're the expert, and you do that expert and you show that expertise regularly and continually. Add your social proof. We talked about that. And comment. Make sure everything has schemas, has comments, that your customers, that your associates are adding to your website, and you want to put them on your website to make sure you get that human layer again. All right, so if AI were to audit your expertise today, what proof would it find? There's your question that you have to answer. And what I would say is you want to make sure that you answer that question completely and accurately for AI. So we're going to drop the blog tomorrow, give you some more very specific steps on how to do that. But let's really sit down this week and try to work on that. And let's start that. Let's make that the goal for the rest of 2025, and make that your 2026 goal. Is how do I show AI and people that I'm the expert? And write your blogs, do your FAQs, do everything, your social posts, do everything around, is this showing that I'm the expert? This is where AI can help you. You get work with your ChatGPT, your Gemini, your Claude, whatever your favorite AI LLM is. Use them, get them to learn your voice. We had did a presentation over the weekend, and I can't tell you how many people were interested in ChatGPT. And what I told them is, and Joy told them, it's worth the monthly $20 just to have AI, like the ChatGPT $20. I'm sorry, but it's worth it to have ChatGPT learn your voice, and for you to help mold your voice, and develop your voice, so that your blogs become easier to write, your posts become easier to write. Everything flows better once you teach ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini your voice. So that is my number one recommendation for the week: is let it teach you, get it, pay the $20 this week, and let's get it to learn your voice. All right. So how does Signal 2 fit into our system? Well, last week we talked about Signal 1. You're getting on the trail, right? Starting the data trail. And next week we're going to talk about how AI in Signal 3, and how AI finds you. And of course, we're going to bring in our bias, and we're going to bring in our behavior layers that we've figured out what's happening. But of course, there's other things, like Signal 5, how does it get structured? How does it get amplified with Signal 6 and 7? And the big one, Signal 9, how is everything connected? So remember, it's not a list. It's not a to-do list. What we're trying to develop here is we're trying to develop a system, a way to make you AI found first. And that's the whole goal. So we see it. We're seeing it all the time with our clients. Their AI discoverability is going up. And that's what you want. Because remember, I read a stat today that by 2028, there's going to be 36% more people using AI like we use Google today. And that to me is astounding. That means a third of people that aren't using it today are going to use it. And it's going to be like there's over 106, it's estimated that 160 billion dollars by 2029 is going to be bought with AI wearable devices. And you know that we're going to use those to find places. So remember, next week, same time, we're going to talk about signal number 3, AI discoverability. We're going to talk a lot more about schema and all the behind the scenes stuff. As always, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, on X. We have some exciting news to announce right now. Save the date for February 4th. It's a Wednesday. We're going to do our next AI in Reach. We'll have more information posted on our social media and our website about AI in Reach in the coming weeks. But we're going to specifically talk about all the signals and how they all connect together in live AI in Reach, because it's AI in Reach. It's going to be here in Colorado Springs, but we're going to also do it virtually for those folks that are visiting us across the United States. So save the date for February 4th. Remember, next week on Live and Found, we're going to be talking about Signal 3. And as always, this has been Tim in for Joy, talking about being live and found and helping you be found first.